Max with Harry Douglas and Freddie Coleman. Catch us on ESPN Radio and watch us on ESPN2. Hot News or Not News brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Before we start Hot News or Not News, Jeremy asked Harry Douglas a question about Harry playing in the NFL right now. Jeremy, what did you ask Harry that I want people to hear?
No, I'm just always fascinated when I see ex-players and they're still in excellent shape. I ask them, hey, could you still go like 6 to 8 snaps? You look like you can still play a little bit. So I was always curious if they had to put it on the line and go out there and actually play NFL football, could they still do it?
And Harry's answer was?
Well, six to 8 snaps, that's easy. Here's the thing, though. I don't want to practice. I don't want anything to do with that build up. I don't want my body being sore. I love waking up and my body. Well, it don't feel great because I had so many surgeries, but I love waking up and I don't have helmet bruises on my thighs or my ribs being sore. I don't miss that.
One of my favorite quotes about that, Jeremy and Harry, was when Eric Allen, who used to work for us and now does a great job for the Pac-12 Network, and he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
And he was at practice one day when he played for the Saints. He said, I want to go back to that. I said, really?
No,
he said,
no, boss.
He said, certain things you say to yourself, yep, that's when my time in Eden in the NFL is going to be a lot shorter than that. Yeah, no doubt about that. But Matthew Stafford's time in the NFL Eden is not anywhere near towards his end. A lot of people concerned about that digit, meaning his throwing shoulder, his throwing elbow. Matthew Stafford has an answer for that.
I feel good. I'm ready to go. No limitations. I feel great. I mean, I'm ready to go play. Can always be better. Can always try to feel like I'm 21 again. I'll keep trying. But no, I feel really good. I feel like I can make every throw. I don't know what else you need to hear from me.
So Jeremy and Harry, apparently Matthew Stafford is James Brown. I feel good. Na, 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 na. I knew that I would. Now, na, 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 na. Is that hot news or not news that he says, Jeremy, he has no limitations getting ready for Thursday's season opener versus the Buffalo Bills?
I think in the bigger picture, it is hot news, because this is something that the Rams are probably going to have to monitor all year. You're talking about Super Bowl winning quarterback, a team trying to repeat a top 10, unquestionable top 10 quarterback who's having elbow issues, who had to miss some practice time. It's not news in that what he's saying and the news he's delivering is good, right? Like, it's not really a story to him right now or the Rams because they're ready for week 1. He's feeling fine. Long term, though, this is a hot news story for sure.
Yeah, I agree with Jeremy. Short term, it's not an issue. Now, I think it can become an issue if the offensive line, without an Andrew Whitworth, Austin Corbett, doesn't block the defensive line of the Buffalo Bills, right, and they started hitting that elbow a little bit, and he starts feeling some kind of way. But long term, I think is more so when you need to pay attention to it. How's he going to feel mid-season? How's he going to feel down at the tail end of the season as they're trying to repeat as champions?
Jimmy G said he did not want to ruffle feathers by requesting a release from the San Francisco 49ers, guys. Says he's happy to stay with the 49ers. Jeremy, is this hot news or not news?
This is hot news. I mean, this is really the story of the offseason in the last few weeks is you have a team that has a window to compete for a championship ready-made, and you have this quarterback out there that started as and had success for him and had to just sit out and wait and had really no trade market, and then here he is back together with Trey Lance. And so it's news in that what he said was interesting because he certainly could have asked for his release. He could have, tried to figure out the shoulder surgery issue earlier. You know, that the surgery changed everything because they had to wait till late July before they even could try to drum up a market. So this is to me hot news because it's not going away. I mean, we're going to be talking about Garoppolo and Trey Lance every time they win or lose a game or how the 49ers are doing.
Yeah, I think it's hot news. And Jeremy, to your point, if Jimmy Garoppolo didn't need shoulder surgery, he would have been traded by now. And it would have been a lot of contenders, a lot of people willing to trade whatever to get Jimmy Garoppolo to be the quarterback of their teams. But that's not what happened. He had to have that shoulder surgery. But it's like Goody Mob. Freddie, remember Goody Mob?
Oh, yeah.
Who's that peeking in my window?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who is that peeking behind Trey Lance? Jimmy G. Yes,
well
it
done.
is. Yes, it is.
Well done. Anytime a Goody Mob references makes the show, it's good for the show, it's good for the soul, and damn it, it's good for the country. So it's Jeremy Fowler, ESPN senior reporter. Hit him on Twitter, Jay Fowler, ESPN. Also catch more of him on Get Up at 8 a.m. this morning, joining us in Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Pittsburgh Steelers, Jeremy, have still not named a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Is this hot news or not news?
it's not news because everybody pretty much knows it's going to be Mitch Trubisky at this point. Mike Tomlin, he's never done this before. He's always had Ben Roethlisberger, so this is really his first quarterback competition. He could surprise us and go Kenny Pickett, but that's not really the expectation. So the hot news will come in week 4, week 6, week 8, when usually first-round quarterbacks play. Almost all these guys play year 1. So history is not on Trubisky's side, so he's got to play really well to keep that job.
Yeah, I don't think this is news. Mike Tomlin, we know, if not, he's one of the best quarterbacks, best head coaches in the National Football League. I love when he does his press conference. We're not going to make knee-jerk reactions to what y'all are seeing. I love when he says that because a lot of people like to make instant decisions off of what they're seeing. But he views everything in the big picture. He wants to review practice. He wants to review how these guys carry themselves around the facility, interact with their teammates, along with the preseason games as well. This was Mr. Trubisky's job going into training camp, right? And I don't think he did anything to lose it. Now, Kenny Pickett pushed him a little bit more, but I think at the end of the day, it will be Trubisky. But at some point, I do believe that Kenny Pickett will play and be the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers this year.
Staying in the AFC North, still no contract extension for Lamar Jackson. We're 6 days away from the opening day for the Baltimore Ravens taking on the New York Jets. Jeremy, is this hot news or not news?
This is hot news. This is the hot news of the week. Lamar Jackson and Baltimore Ravens have had the better part of the last year to try to get a contract done. Here we are. There's no momentum that I'm hearing about right now, at least. People I'm talking to are skeptical, and it feels dead. Now, they can lock themselves in a room over the next 6 days and say, hey, Lamar, take a few practices off. Let's go meet with the front office. Right now, it just doesn't seem to be adding up. So we have a former MVP who's going into a contract year. It just feels wrong in some ways. It feels backward because we have guys like Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, all these guys getting deals. You would think Lamar would be next, but this is now a 2-year standoff. It's looking like, unless they can pull off an upset.
Yeah, this is hot news. In Germany, you said, hey, Lamar, take a couple practices off. Let's lock ourselves in a room. Well, I'll tell you what should happen if they don't get a deal. On Friday, you're touching up your Friday practice. We used to call it Perfect Friday. If Lamar Jackson doesn't have a deal, that's when Lamar Jackson should tell him, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and sit this one out, y'all, till we can go ahead and get this deal done.
Either way, 6 days. Tick, 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 tick. A guy who loves being a part of hot news is not news because he always makes the news. Anytime he says something, is Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys owner. From 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, Jeremy Harry, check the list and what he had to say about being a risk taker.
No one would deny that I'm a risk taker. No one.
Right.
I take risks, and I do it every day in my life.
All right.
And so there's a proper time to take some risks.
Sure.
We have taken them, and we will take them. I hope that some of the risks that I take in the future will result in a change from where we've been, and that's not getting to the Super Bowl. But I do that every day in my life.
Oh, he does that every day in his life, Jeremy. So he says being a risk taker. Hopes that they will get the Cowboys back to the Super Bowl.
Is he talking about his investment portfolio?
Hey, watch your mouth. That's another story for another day. Is that hot news or not news, Jeremy?
No, this is not news. He's been conservative with that portfolio of late.
Yes.
They have not taken a lot of risks. They've been very much draft and develop as a program over the last 6 to 8 years. And it's actually worked pretty well. 4 10-win seasons, double-digit win seasons since 2014. That's better than where they were the previous 8 years when, they haven't really relied on making the splash trade or the splash move. They've drafted pretty well. And so, I kind of look at them as a little boring in a good way.
Right.
So less risk, the better for the Cowboys. That's why I'm not overreacting to all the talk about them right now. I know they've had some injuries, but I still think they'll be okay.
Yeah, this is not hot news to me. I mean, I understand this, Jerry. What's hot news to me is how they're going to protect their quarterback, who's going to be number 2, number 3 receiver-wise. Is everything going to be on Dak's shoulders?
Right.
Is Ezekiel Elliott going to be able to be his old self?
Or just old?
Can Mike McCarthy coach at a high level?
Oh, boy.
That's the hot news in my eyes when we're talking about Dallas.
That's no news because all those things may be no this year when it comes to Cowboys in 2022 because the Eagles are clearly the best team in the NFC East. Speaking of Dallas Cowboys, Troy Aikman, Hall of Fame quarterback, Jeremy, is a fan of Jets quarterback Zach Wilson. He thinks he could be a good player if people just lay up off of him. Is this hot news or not news?
You're telling me he thinks Zach Wilson could be a good player, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I think Troy Aikman right now could be a better quarterback for the Jets than Zach Wilson, but I digress.
It's not news. The hotter news is he going to play this week, which I expect Joe Flacco to get the start. They need Zach Wilson to rest up, make sure that knee is totally 100% correct, ready to go, which they'll do. And but it's the year 2 jump that he could make in the bigger picture is hot news, because this is actually a sneaky good team roster-wise. Like, they've built some good talent. I don't know if it's going to translate. I expect them to at least be better than last year, somewhere between pushing for the playoffs and an improvement from last year's win total. So Zach Wilson has to be a big part of that. Yeah,
this is not news to me. I don't know who Troy Aikman knows that may know Zach Wilson, so I don't. I mean, but Troy played the quarterback position for a very long time, and he did some great things, won Super Bowl, so he knows that position better than me. But I don't know who he knows, so I'm going with not news.
Okay. Real quick, Jeremy, before we let you get out of here, because you know that you have to get up at 8 o'clock. Who's a sleeper team that nobody's talking about that could do some things in the NFL this year, in your opinion?
Sleeper team? I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. I spent some time there in training camp. The offense with Jared Goff and his new coordinator, they feel like they're going to have kind of a stripped down, more detailed, but less thorough attack that will get him more comfortable. Goff has an edge to him, still feels like he can play in the league. Pretty good weapons on offense, good offensive line. Defense has been the question mark, but Aiden Hutchinson is a stud. I think he's going to be an immediate contributor, and they got some other guys that are intriguing enough where I could see them winning, I don't know, a more respectable number of games than last year, I'll put it that way.
He's a great follow on Twitter, Jay Fowler, ESPN. Always a pleasure. Jeremy Fowler, ESPN senior NFL writer, joining us on Keyshawn, Jalen Max, and look for him in about 32 minutes, give or take a lie or two, when he joins the crew on Get Up. Hey, Jeremy, always appreciate you, my man, and thanks a lot.